Starfield landed in our lives in 2023, and the modding scene got to work like we knew it would. Here's 5 mods that transform the look of Bethesda's spaciest RPG. Hi and welcome to ROG Global, where we celebrate PC gaming in all forms and drop you info on our products that let you experience it to the fullest. Lately, we've been staring up into the night sky, taking in the majesty of the universe above us and thinking, bit low fidelity, isn't it? Which is a pretty strong indication that we've gone way too far with our own Starfield modding and subsequently ruined the actual universe for ourselves because it's just not trippy enough. Here's how you can too. We're starting with the most exciting element of any game, let alone a game that lets you hurtle through deep space and explore countless exotic planets. That's right, we're starting with the menus. It's a bit of a tradition now for Bethesda RPGs that the first mod you install is the one that sorts out the UI. And Star UI from creator M8R98A4F2 fulfills that brief perfectly. There are several components to it that you can install separately, but the biggie here is inventory management. Much cleaner and simpler, and you can see more of what you're carrying without having to scroll. Sounds like a tiny matter, but over the course of a 100+ hour RPG, the menus really do have a bearing on your experience. So why not make them prettier and more usable in one go? Next up is EXE Effect Textures Enhanced, a mod by Viason that lets you replace the default effect textures for things like muzzle flash and fire with prettier, sharper, higher res versions. This might not be one of those mods that makes the game look unrecognizably transformed as soon as you load the game up, but once you get into firefights, you really notice and appreciate the extra details. And it's an area that isn't often touched on by those big 4K texture packs. More on those later, by the way. So it's great to have a dedicated mod for all these pretty effects. Next up is a mod called Neutral LUTs by Fading Signal, and it's a pretty simple one in the grand scheme of things. Bethesda has a way of applying some pretty aggressively stylized color filters and contrast settings to its RPGs, and they're not always to everyone's taste. Starfield has an especially narrow contrast range and a noticeable color filter wherever you are in the universe, and if your eye doesn't agree with Bethesda's creative choice, that is a problem. Neutral LUTs essentially just removes those filters and calibrates the colors and contrast back to a more, neutral overall look. There's also an HDR Fix in here to bring in more dynamic range to scenes, inkier blacks, brighter colors. To our eye, it just lets the magnificent locations and characters in Starfield really shine. If you're a seasoned Skyrim or Fallout 4 modder, you know what's coming next. All the textures, because when these games ship, they have to run on a wide variety of hardware, including consoles and low-spec PCs, so the textures need to strike a balance between looking convincing on screen without making something catch fire inside your hardware. But when you get to modding your game, all those considerations go out of the window. It's yours now, so push it as far as it can possibly go. This pack in particular, the high-definition texture pack from Epiphany Absolute, just adds so much detail to every nook and cranny of Starfield. The indoor spaces, their vast galactic outdoors, all of it just looks sharper and more immersive. We've seen actual remasters that don't do this good a job. Now that we've loaded the game world up with some incredible textures and rebalanced the colors, it's time to find a little bit more performance with the extremely aptly named Performance Optimizations mod by ROG. This is a great collection of fixes and options that looks for efficiencies and performance saving all over the place and deposits extra frame rate back onto your screen. It's an easy setup process too, so if all of those 4K textures tanked your FPS, don't worry, you can get at least some of it back with this mod. Now, we both know that there are about a bajillion more mods out there for Starfield. Half the fun of modding is becoming a bit of a collector and endlessly tinkering. But the end result that you're going for is really a subjective thing. We think that these 5 are a great base to build on, a foundation to add mods that fix the details that you really care about. So we're leaving this list here, but tell us about the best mods that you're using down below in the comments, like this video to support the channel, and subscribe to ROG Global to hear more product news and tech innovations as we drop them. Catch you in another one.